Hello and welcome to the in-depth series of Drishti IAS. Now, we are discussing today about President's Bodyguard, as Draupadi Murmu has presented the silver trumpet and banner to President's Bodyguard. We must know about it because this could come in your prelims examination. More and more, it might be possible that prelims examination will be dedicated towards it. For mains, not very analytical, but it would help if you know the facts. So what is silver trumpet and banner? Who are the President's Bodyguard? The origin of it? Who is a part of PBG as they are called? Operational history of them, and also about the horses in brief. That is not a slide dedicated, but that I will tell you in brief. Questions? Let us look at the questions also. So silver trumpet and banner first of all. Now this present of silver trumpet and banner is done by the President of India after independence, Rajendra Prasad. The first President of India was the first one to do so. They are privileged, the President's Bodyguard, they are privileged to carry the President's silver trumpet and trumpet banner. This distinction was conferred on the President's Bodyguard in 1923 by Lord Reading. Okay, so Lord Reading started this distinction of doing so, and this 1923 was the celebration of 150 years of service that was completed by President's Bodyguard. So since then we are seeing it. Each succeeding viceroy after then presented the silver trumpet and trumpet banner to the President's Bodyguard. Moving ahead, let's talk about the current one. Earlier it was a coat of arms, but now after independence it changed to the monogram of the President. It appears on the banner. And Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the first one ever to do so on May 14th, 1957. Moving ahead to the other important parts, that is first of all, who are they? This is basically a 200 strong cavalry unit, okay? And this is assigned, this PBG as they are called, to protect the president, okay? They escort the president and it is based in Rashtrapati Bhavan, New Delhi. This is the oldest regiment of the Indian Army. 248 years of service was completed this year itself according to official records. It is also the senior most regiment in the Indian Army. Right of the line on all official and ceremonial occasion is their position. Okay, so remember all these preliminary facts. Let's talk about other quick facts of it. The President's Bodyguard, it was raised in 1773. It is the senior most regiment. The men in President's Bodyguard are all paratroopers, cavalrymen and tankmen. So these three are basic composition of President's Bodyguard. Can be asked in prelims, remember this. The President's Bodyguard only accept candidates that are at least 6 feet tall. Okay. Also the President's Bodyguard has sent detachment to every war that India has ever fought in. Remember this. Today the President's Bodyguard comprises 4 officers, 14 juniors commissioned officers and 161 troopers. Moving ahead to the other parts of it. Now PBG personnel, they are trained as paratroopers and they are nominally expected to lead airborne assault in the role of pathfinders. So this is a preliminary fact. They come equipped with horses for ceremonies at the presidential palace, also along BTR 80 vehicles, so that they can use in combat as well. Moving ahead, this is full of data, nothing much to explain here, just remember all these. Okay. It was for the first time ever, it was raised in 1773 at Banaras, now Varanasi, by Governor Warren Hastings. So remember that. And he started it with 50 handpicked paratroopers, not paratroopers but troopers. But these were from Mughal Horse, a unit which was raised in 1760 by the local Sardars in the same year. This unit was augmented by Raja Chet Singh of Banaras. He added more 50 troopers and then the strength became 100. The first commander of the unit was Captain Sweeney Toone. So remember all this. Moving ahead to the other portions. In 1773, it was called Governor's Troop of Mughal. Okay. So because Mughal Horse, from that only the troopers were sourced. Who raised it? Governor Warren Hastings. Then Governor's General Bodyguard, the name was changed in 1784. In 1859, it was renamed as Viceroy's Bodyguard because of course after 1857, the policy changed and Governor General was renamed as Viceroy, the representative of the Crown. In 1944, it was changed to 44th Divisional Reconnaissance Squadron. In 1946, horsemen were called Governor General's Bodyguard, and President's Bodyguard started this under this name. It started only in the year 1950, that is post-independence. Now, who are a part of the President's Bodyguard? Paratroopers and men above 6 feet in height. Remember this we have already seen in the facts. And they are sourced from only 3 castes: Jats, Rajputs and Sikhs. The lineage of the men who are serving under the PBG, it has been questioned by a person in Delhi High Court. Haryana resident Gaurav Yadav saying he was from 𝐈𝐀𝐒 regiment. He said that I fulfilled all the eligibility criteria with respect to it, but because of the caste issue, he cannot be a part of PBG. Moving ahead, earlier, if we talk about the recruitment, as talking about its origin, Musalmans from the area of eastern Uttar Pradesh were recruited. Now, by the end of the 18th century, Brahmins from Bengal began to replace their earlier Mughals. In 1800, the regiment started to change from Bengal Presidency to Madras Presidency, and the Governor General's bodyguards were reconstituted with troopers from Madras Cavalry, and that continued for the next 60 years. And during this period only, South Indian castes formed the bulk of the unit. Again, too much data, nothing much to explain here. Moving ahead, let's talk about other important parts of it. Now, the center of recruitment of Indian Army after that was shifted from Awadh and South India to North India. And the Governor General's bodyguards, it was also not untouched. So Sikhs started getting enlisted for the first time in August 1883. Then Punjabi Muslims in October 1887. This is of course post the mutiny after 1857. The recruitment of Brahmins and Rajputs completely ceased in 1895, and after that the proportion of recruits were fixed at 50% Sikhs and 50% Muslims in order to create division amongst them. Moving ahead, let's talk about the operational history where they have fought. They fought the main battles of the first Sikh wars. They also earned 4 battle honors. In 1962 China War, they had an immense role. The armored cars of them were the first one to be airlifted to Chushul. Also participated in Operation Ablaze in the 1965 Indo-Pak War. If it is asked in your examination of mains, these are the examples that you can cite, the relevance of it. Ever since they were introduced in Siachen, they are still serving in Siachen Glacier. They were also sent in Indian peacekeeping forces to Sri Lanka in 1988 and 89, and they were also part of the Indian contingents in UN peacekeeping in Somalia, Angola and Sierra Leone, so Africa as well. Moving ahead to the other part, let's talk about horses. Horses, like they have the eligibility for the candidates of PBGs, they also have for horses. So a particular dimension of the criteria, once a horse fulfills, then only they can be recruited. The bond between the PBG and the horses are of extreme significance. This is one of the defining characteristics that they have. So the President's Bodyguard was raised in which of the following years? 1773, 1774, 1775 or 1776. That's it. Thank you so much for watching.